Hey, welcome to another edition of Kyle Meredith with. It's the interview series presented by WFPK at WFPK.org. Consequence and the Consequence Podcast Network. Thanks as always for making your way here for checking out the episode. I hope you hit that subscribe button so you can keep up the entire series. We do 3 new interviews every single week, doing every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So it's a great way to keep up with your favorite artists and discover those new ones. You can grab us really anywhere that you get podcasts from. That includes Spotify, Apple Podcast, at NPR, WFPK.org, Consequence, or of course, right here on YouTube for the video versions. Anywhere you get your podcast from, you can subscribe to Kyle Meredith with. And that's me, Kyle Meredith. Today, I can't believe I get to say this. I'm talking with legendary actor John Malkovich, who's back in a new Apple TV Plus series called The New Look. This is a story that tells of a Nazi-occupied France and life in post-World War II Europe, through the lives of the era's fashion icons, Christian Dior and Coco Chanel. Now, John Malkovich, who, of course, I'm naming multiple movies, the ones that come off the top of my head, Being John Malkovich, Con Air, Of Mice and Men, he's done it all. He's going to be discussing his portrayal of Lucien Lelong, who is a French couture and a mentor to Christian Dior, among other iconic designers. He'll be talking about the compromises many of these people had to make in order to survive, how choices were rarely black and white, and he'll go on to consider how people of today might fare under similar circumstances, as well as the importance of creation as a way to stave off mayhem. It's a beautifully shot series. Ben Mendelsohn plays Dior. We have Juliette Binoche playing Coco Chanel. Emily Mortimer is also in here. And along with talking about the new look, we're also going to talk a little bit about the upcoming Talented Mr. Ripley. It's now a TV series. It's going to be, I think, on Netflix, and Andrew Scott playing the title role. It's interesting because while Malkovich is in it, he too has played Ripley in Ripley's Game out in 2002. So we're going to hear a little bit about that as well. But let's jump into it right now, discussing The New Look out on Apple TV Plus. It's Kyle Meredith with John Malkovich.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's such a pleasure to get to talk to you, especially about such a beautifully shot and heavy series with The New Look. You did great work, and playing
Thank you.
Lucien Lelong, who is such an interesting character. I was wondering if you could talk a bit about him because this is a guy who he didn't design his clothes, but he still ended up important figure in this movie. Why is he so special to the story in your eyes?
Well, I think in the story, his function is that Christian Dior, who this series is about, along with Coco Chanel, were very, very famous designers of the post-war era in France and pre-war as well. At least Chanel, I think, a bit. Lucien Lelong, who had his own fashion house, was not a designer really, but was a great recognizer, I think, of talent and a great appreciator and lover of talent. And among the talents that he fostered were Christian Dior, Balmain, Balenciaga, Givenchy, Pierre Cardin, excuse me, etc. And he was also the head of the haute couture syndical of haute couture in France, which and really the person, maybe you would say, principally responsible for being able to appease the Nazis to some extent and keep the fashion business from being forced to move from its seat in Paris to Berlin. And this is what these are the two sides. These are the two hands he was dealt, and he played them, and he did what he could to keep that business alive and to keep it based in France. He was also, at least in the term of the series, very close to Christian Dior, a great believer in his talent, a great friend, someone who cared about Dior as a human being. Um, and that's really his function in the series. And he's someone, as is that period of time, that's kind of lost in history and was lost for a long time in French history, because people made accommodations for their lives to go on. And of course, those are accommodations that pursuant generations judge very harshly. But unfortunately, life is often a bit more complex than that. And this generation of moralist, I would venture, would fare no better. And I'm pretty sure they'd fare worse. So, but these are stories kind of lost in the mist and fog of history. And I think the series is interesting, partially because creative people and their lives are interesting.
Right. Yeah, the way it lines up, as you're saying, with stories that we still see today. Never thought we'd be talking about Nazis, but also to find these characters, to find these moments, the parts of the story, as you're saying, like you don't consider the compromises some people would have to make, and that nothing is black and whites, and to reveal those
Very
moments.
very few things, excuse me. I agree. Meaning there are so few things that are really black and white. Really, really black and white. There are some. But life is corruption and life is compromise, and that's a fact. And there's no getting around that fact. And there's no getting around that we all make accommodations with things that we really do not wish to do. We really do not wish to hear. And we really do wish didn't exist. And this is the daily life, well, it was for centuries of mankind's and humankind's experience, male and female, and is still a daily thing for most people. I think most people maybe don't love their jobs. Most people don't love their siblings, maybe, or their parents, or even their children, or their lot in life. And we make accommodation with it. And I don't think that's necessarily a defense. It's just how it is. It's what it is. It's how we're programmed.
Well, I want to quickly say the conflict that you carry in your eyes as someone who has to keep the lights on for people, the scene about the miniature dolls when you're doing that, and me thinking like, where in the world does he get his hope from? It's so surprising. And I do love the way that you paint that because it's noticeable.
I think it's creation. If people worried themselves with that and occupied themselves with that, there'd be a lot less mayhem in the world. I'm pretty sure of that. Some people aren't drawn to it, but that could be a number of factors too that are changeable, adaptable, or curable, if we have to say it that way. But I think that's something that is both life affirming and arguably life saving, and life fulfilling in a way.
Creating. I will say that. Let me close by saying that you've created some of the most powerful roles and some of the stuff I've enjoyed. I particularly just wanted to quickly say your portrayal in Ripley's Game is one of my favorite things that you've ever done.
Oh,
And I was so excited to see that you're going to be back in that world again with the Ripley stuff. And I hope we get to talk later.
Yeah, I just have a tiny thing. I hope it comes out. It's been a while, but I don't know what's going on with that. I haven't talked to Steve in a long time, but hope it comes out. I love the young actor who plays Ripley. He's just terrific, I think. So, okay. Do you know when it's coming out?
April, May, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Oh,
hey, your name's on the press release, so you've made it that far. That's
yeah, but yeah, I'm more concerned with will it come out? No, I'm sure it will. He's a great writer, Steve, and this Andrew, the young actor, I think he's a great Ripley. It looked to me. So, thanks for that.
Yep. The new look is powerful. Thank you so much for the work. Especially thank you so much for taking the time to talk about it. I so appreciate it.
Thank you for your interest. Thank you.
And thanks to my guest. Also, thanks to you for checking out the episode in the series. Before you get out of here, hit that subscribe button. Again, you get 3 brand new interviews every single week. New one every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at right here on YouTube, or of course anywhere in podcast land, including iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser, NPR, or WFPK.org as well. A great way to keep up with your favorite artists and discover new ones as well. Then after that, actually head over to WFPK.org. That's where I do a show Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern. It's an hour full of song premieres, music news, anniversary spins, bonus interviews, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern at WFPK.org. Consequence has your music and film news. You can also find me on the social media spots, Facebook, Instagram, mostly on Twitter. All 3 of them, the address is at Kyle Meredith. Do hope you like and follow along. That does it for another edition. I'm Kyle Meredith. I'll see you next time.